All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be live. Give me one quick second. Let me Bluetooth in. Get this out. I think I have the other one, this one. We are going to be watching the Manager's Playbook. Today's episode features an artist from California that recently signed to Rock Nation, and we're gonna hear what was his perspective.
$1 million question. Why did you sign with Rock Nation?
They felt the best for what we were trying to achieve. I really wanted to globalize what we've built. We built something so special, and I've witnessed how many lives it's changed, and I see the feeling of people who come to this yard and find my music, and I thought it was necessary for the rest of the world to get that experience. And one thing that we struggle with independently is having representation outside of where we exist. Right? You know, I'm huge where we exist, and we can do all the media platforms here, but that's not the same for Switzerland and Ireland and the UK and Indonesia and China. You know, like everyone that I've met that has experienced what we do, it has been life-changing for them. Why would I not want to change as many lives as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. What's your perception of all this and what you said, and how do you feel about that? And I can't leave you out as well. We got to introduce you as well. This is T right here, the manager of Russell.
Yep.
Thoughts?
We had a lot of conversations around Rock Nation and if it was like the best option at the time. And I think where we really landed was the quality of people there. You know, like we got to go sit in and meet everybody, and we had a roundtable talk with all of the different teams, and they had a whole pitch thing for us, and it was it felt the most aligned with our team at home. Like when we walked in the room, it didn't feel like we had to break any ice. It just felt like we were able to have conversations like we were already on the same page. And I think that those are the most important things that you need if you're going to build your team. Like, you don't want to have to build a team and then be like, dang, I need to figure out how we mesh together. You want to be able to walk into a room and be like, dang, this already feels great. It feels like we can hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And did.
Yeah.
So,
off the gate.
Out the gate.
And or any paperwork on the side, you just like you have.
Felt this.
The thing is, this is like people will say who don't understand it, will just think of a name. Some people will think of it as a corporate brand, but we can get into that and what it actually is. But you don't understand at the end of the day, there's human beings in that.
Man. And it's not like that's the first label meeting that we've ever had. It wasn't like we were just wowed by like, oh, wow, this is a big name that we're going to go in here and we just want to be able to be. It was, we actually got to meet the people, have very in-depth conversations, and then make a decision based off of the people that we were going to do business with.
And I didn't do a deal that was proposed to me. I signed the deal I proposed.
Okay.
You know, that's what people don't understand. So I set the ground for this, and beyond that, something that was really important for Hove was passing the keys and the information and the resource that he gathered during his journey with all the fights he had to fight. And he gathered this book of information and said, you need to be able to use this. If I'm going to give it to anyone, I want to make sure you have these tools and resources available to you. You feel me? Like that's how special this is. This isn't just a deal. This is the passing of resource from someone who went through the forest and came out with their shirt ripped up.
Yeah.
And was like, you finna go through that forest. I want to make sure you have everything you need to navigate it properly to get to where I am.
I saw you ask the question on the podcast and it's escaping me the name.
Dios lo bendiga. ¿Cómo está? Aquí estudiando, usted sabe, en el internet, todo es computadora. Todo es computadora. Dios lo bendiga.
If you think of it that way because it's such a big corporation. He has a lot of partnerships, but that's the truth. We can go into that a little bit, but before we go into that, you said something that I appreciate you bringing up. You went there with the deal that you wanted. Can we talk about the deal structure?
Of course.
What does the deal structure look like?
I got a term for 6 months. So from January to June, the summer, which don't exist. Look at your face. Your face was like, what do you mean? That don't even exist. This is literally like, here, I got this project that I worked really hard on, that I believe in. I love this music. And I went in and I said, I want to be able to go to radio. I want higher publicity. I want to go to late night television. 2 of those are already achieved. I guarantee you I'll be on late night television before this year is over.
What are you up to?
Radio, major publication and publicity, late night television.
Okay, so radio,
I'm already on radio. Over 50 stations.
In the U.S.?
All over the U.S.
Nice. What format did you go with?
Urban.
Urban format?
Yep.
Okay, and the publication?
We've had Boardroom, Billboard,
Did have board.
you know,
That's Rich Klein, right?
Yeah.
So it's Rich.
We've had a ton, you know, of course, and what we was already adding to the pot, you know, and just the rapport and association of being with them, you know, it makes everybody else. I've been on the news 20 times because it's like, hey, you know, like you don't even see rappers on the news as much as I'm on the news, but yeah, they really just came in. Everything that we discussed that we wanted, because we went in with our own pitch deck as well, and was like, these are the things that we need for this to feel successful for us. Because I was already having independent success. It don't make sense to partner unless you can add value to what I'm doing. Can you add value in these spaces? Yeah.
This was also the most prepared that we've ever been when going into a deal. Like from the previous deals that we've done, we've realized like, dang, we always have obligations that we have to meet. How many songs need to be, you know, sent in, or, you know, whatever their side that they expect deliverables from us.
Yeah.
But we never go in with deliverables from them. And then we walk away from it like, dang, what changed in doing that deal? How much did we grow? How much did they actually contribute? So now when we went in this time, we're like, no, these are the deliverables we expect from you. And you are going into this contract as well as we are with like, we're going to meet these deliverables and we're going to meet ours, which already changes the tone in going into a deal.
Yeah.
And it's non-exclusive.
Mhm.
I just dropped an album last week.
Right.
You know, like I'm still independent and free to do whatever I want to do. They're never going to get in the way of that. But it's also like, what's crazy is with this deal, the same way I'm sharing revenue and things with my team is me saying, hey, I got 42 albums. One of these, I'm going to share some revenue with you and give you stake to help me make it larger.
Yeah.
That doesn't take any of my autonomy and independence away. That's me being smart and leveraging a partner.
Yeah.
Which also was really beautiful on their end to hear how important it was to them for us to remain independent. Whereas usually you go into deals and it's like, well, you know, like eventually we want to be able to move the catalog. We want to be able to like, have, you know, in order to help you, we need access to all these things too. But we'll start here. For them, it's like, no, making sure you get to stay independent and autonomous, and we just add to what you're already doing is the most important thing for us. That already changes the tone.
You know, I can just double click on that and confirm that too, because when we were going through that bidding war a decade ago, we sat down with Hope, and Hope said it himself. I don't want to own anything. You can do the licensing deal, and that's fine. I don't want to own the copyrights. I just fought for my copyrights.
Right.
Man, told us that straight up 10 years ago, so I can confirm that. That's a fact. So it's one album.
Yep.
One project, whatever amount of tracks, doesn't matter what it is. And then that's going to be a rev share on that project, 50/50.
Yep.
Got you. So it's 3 to 6 months, but in that time you can deliver the project. Can you also deliver music that is not a part of that project in the interim?
Yeah, we did that too. Like we put out the Draft Day Freestyle via them as well.
It's through them, so I'll go through them for the next.
But the last album I just dropped isn't through them. That's me doing my own thing. Exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of people have to, you know.
What do you mean?
like most artists, if you sign a deal, you have to release everything that you release through that channel and through that method. But we're always big on like, hey, let us do our thing. The things that you feel like you can add value to, like this last album I dropped. I hit him and we had a meeting and I said, I'm dropping this as a surprise, spontaneous drop. Do you feel like you can add value? If you don't feel like you can add value, I'm going to do my thing. If you do, we'll do it through that route. They're like, man, it's only a day, so we don't want to impede that. Do your thing. And that's how it's supposed to go. But a lot of artists don't have the freedom to make that decision.
And he was able to drop it, a week or two before the release date for the album that they are working on. You know, usually it'll be like, bro, you can't do that. Like, we're already trying to get the build up, and we need this amount of time in between each release, and it wasn't none of that.
Wow. Congrats. That's incredible. Right. I love to hear that. That's amazing.
But it's like they signed me to be me. You know, they knew who they were coming. It's not like I'm an artist who didn't have a track record or no one's seen what I've been doing. It's like I've been known to do the most innovative things. Why would that stop now?
Folks, listen up. We're going to take a quick break from the pod to talk about music publishing. Now, look, I had a great conversation with my man Jacob Paul at Cosign, and I think it's absolutely worth you watching a short segment from that convo just to ensure you're not leaving any of those publishing royalties on the table. Check it out. So we're talking about Cosign.
Okay, so Cosign is a new service, newish service that we launched about 12 months ago. And the goal of Cosign is to take everything that we've built in terms of Cobalt, in terms of the infrastructure of registering songs and collecting royalties as quickly, as directly, as efficiently as we can. And Cosign just puts it in the most flexible format possible for a new generation of like artists and songwriters and producers who have real money to collect on the publishing side. They're really earning songwriting royalties, but they want something that's really flexible in terms of a deal. Okay. Because what we saw was that, there's this landscape where you had big companies with lots of resources, but they still generally have a pretty old school model of operating the business, right? Where, maybe you're getting locked into a co-op deal or even a traditional admin deal where you're not getting a copyright ownership and might have a longer term life. And there are a lot of artists, more and more, that we see, and not just artists, but producers and songwriters, who either, one, don't want a traditional deal ever. They don't need the traditional infrastructure. They are committed to being independent. Or maybe they might want a traditional deal at some point in the future, but they're just not ready for it yet. And the last thing that I think artists should have to do, and I've seen this, is sort of almost get like hustled into the wrong situation just because they feel like I need to cover this base and this is what's available. And now you've signed up to something that maybe won't serve you in the long term. So for Cosign, we just said, look, we'll create something that's super flexible. It's a rolling quarterly deal, but you can tap into Cobalt's global infrastructure for collecting or songwriting royalties. And that's really what Cosign is. It's a door to the biggest independent publisher in the world, but really, really flexible format. And it's also a selective service in the sense that, we want to make sure that the artists and songwriters who are coming to Cosign are have enough money to collect that we can throw a lot of resources at making sure we're maximizing that income. So we're not being selective because we want to say no to people, but we want to just deliver a very high quality admin service in a flexible format to people who are ready to take that kind of step with us.
What does that look like when you say to be ready? Is there a floor in terms of like how much the revenue is?
Generally I would say, I'll put it this way. I think that if you have $25 in publishing royalties to collect, there are lots of bigger services that you can go to that, you pay $100 and you can sign up and they let anyone in. They have hundreds of thousands of songwriters. I would say that works if you have $25 to collect. If you have $2,500 or $25,000 to collect, that's where it's probably worth stepping up your infrastructure, and whether that's Cosign or another bigger publisher, that's sort of more the zone that we'd be playing.
All right, guys, that was Jacob from Cosign talking the cold hard facts about music publishing. If you're interested in learning more or even applying to Cosign, the application is free and only takes 3 to 4 minutes tops. You can find the link in the description below or the pinned comment. Now let's get back to the podcast. Do you one day wake up and you say, I think it's time to do a deal and start looking around?
It's kind of a conversation that just lingers in the back all the time, because we're always thinking of, okay, how can we elevate the business? How can we go to the next level? What does this look like? But we've never been in a rush to do one. We're like, if it makes sense and it aligns, we'll do a deal. If it doesn't, we're going to keep on growing and doing what we're doing. This was something I've been talking to Cruz and Chris from Rock Nation for about a year and a half, 2 years now. So it wasn't even it was like, we've been discussing, but it's just like, it don't really make sense, And when I finally made this album with Lil Jon,
Domino's best deal ever gets you any pizza with any toppings for just $9.99.
When you don't use Bounce, Dryer Heat can be a real monster. I turn clothes into a magnet for lint, dust, and hair. Bounce! It fights dryer heat static and makes your laundry fresh again. Put a shit on it with Bounce.
The Faithful begins Sunday on Fox.
There's only one Ozempic.
Hello, I'm Ozempic, and I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Hey, what's under there?
Oh, it's all the things I'm FDA approved to do.
Why are you hiding them?
This ad would get a lot longer if I showed them.
You can...
we were all like, man, this is special. The music is big. This is Lil Jon. I got records that I feel like should go to radio. I want to get a partner that can help us. I feel like this could be expanded upon further than us just making content and going to social media. How can we do that? Who should we do this with? So that conversation just sparked it, and it's like they've been having interest. Let's sit down. Let's see what we can figure out.
Yeah, is your first time doing a radio album?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling?
Incredible. This is something I pitched to previous partners of like, hey, we should go to radio, and it's like, we don't think that makes sense. But the streaming, but the numbers, I didn't have to fight them to go to radio. It was like, that's what you want to do. We believe in this record too. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it was no conflict, no fight. This is what I want for myself. Can we do it?
Right.
So it's been really beautiful to see all these people posting me and to wake up and to hear my song premiering on a station I grew up listening to. And I told them, previous situations, I'm like, bro, people love me when they see me on social media. There's no way they're going to hear me on the radio nationally and not love me too.
Yeah.
Why would that not be a means that we market our music through?
Right.
But it's not worth it for everyone, but it was worth it for them.
Yeah, because generally we having a conversation and they'll say, like, if you're going to go to radio, then the label will say, well, what's the story?
Yep.
And it's just like, what you mean? Well, what's the story on streaming? All right, let me go and call, because I think you're supposed to go and call streaming. And okay, I have my relationships. Let me call streaming. Hey, streaming. Well, like, what's the deal over here? Or if you're talking to streaming platforms now, and you say, can you get me on such and such editorial playlist?
Yep.
What's the story? I thought you were the story. Like, no, off platform. Off platform.
Right.
Oh, TikTok. Oh, shit.
What's the UGCs?
What's the UGC?
Right. How many creators? It's like, no. It's like, did you hear the record? Do you love the record? Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Take a shot. You don't do that anymore.
They treat radio like it didn't exist before social media. Like, they act like social media has been breaking records the whole time, whereas people were taking songs to radio well before social media was telling us it was popular.
Right? Labels don't want to be labels no more.
Yeah.
They want you to break the music. They want you to market the music. They want you to promote the music. They want you to do everything and then come in and add gas. But the origin of the label, when we went to Motown and we looked at the Berry Gordy's and them, it's like, no, I chose you. And I'm going to make the world choose you because I believe in it. That's what it's supposed to be about. Malachi over there, we found Malachi with a couple hundred followers, and we chose him. It's like, no, the world needs to know this. I'm going to put my money up. I'm going to put my time and effort into making sure they do because I believe in it. For some reason, that just disappeared, Like, it may happen in pop now or in country, but in hip-hop, they want you to do everything before they even decide you're worthy of my investment and my time. And I feel it. It's a business. But at some point, we got to get back to the music. It's like, do we love this? Do we believe in this? Let's go then.
Yeah.
They want the artists to break themselves first, which is kind of insane.
Here in North America, talking about global, it's like the world, like where that Motown strategy is working now is Korea.
We've seen it.
They putting it together.
Seen it.
God,
Yeah.
Putting it
I
together.
was talking to Tommy Brown, Timmy Hits about this, and because he's been out there a bunch for like a decade. He's like, that's the new Motown over there. Like how they operate, they build stars over there.
Exactly.
And then the audience, they know the fandom relationship, the psychology of it, which you clearly do as well, right? When you go and you have, so now when you sit down with Rock, you sit down with Hov, Cruz, how long does it take for it to go from conversations to getting papered up?
We decided we was gonna do the deal in December, and we had the deal done in January, February.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's a 2-year relationship being built.
Yeah, but it was just 2 years of like, hey, we interested if you interested, but we was just like, we gonna keep, doing our
It
thing.
happened so fast only because we got the deal that we proposed. Like it was no redlining.
Yeah.
Whereas usually something would take longer because it's this back and forth and all that.
Even though I did have some revisions, and they came back the next day.
Well,
Right.
What did you have to protect most aggressively?
The non-exclusivity of like just making sure, hey, I got to be able to maneuver outside of this. The other things were like, you know how in contracts there's verbiage where it's like you can't speak on this deal because of this. And I'm big on like, I'm going to speak on, a deal. So just having to get the verbiage right where it's like, no, I'm going to communicate and share. I'm not going to do things that's disparaging, but also having verbiage to where it's like, well, if I can't say nothing, then it has to be mutual for both sides. Because I had told the lawyer, it was funny, he started laughing. I was like, how this verbiage is set up, that means like, y'all can beat my ass and throw me out the building and I can't say nothing. That can't be real. Because if I have a bad experience, I have to be able to communicate my experience, and same vice versa. So it was really, really great conversation. I'm on the phone with their lawyer myself. Like, this is what I want. Move this,
That
move
was
this.
different too.
And that was different.
Yeah.
Like
But it's directly in touch with the lawyer who's drafting the contract. So it's no middleman of like, oh, well, he said he wants this, and then when it comes back and it's not right, they're like, oh, well,
and I went line item by line item, and I said, no, we have to take this out. We have to move this line item by line item, 1A, 3B, and it was a really beautiful relationship because the lawyer also explained like, oh, well, this is why this is this way, but I understand your plight. I'm finna do this for you. It was the whole relationship was symbiotic where it was like respectful. Everybody wanted what was best for everybody. It wasn't one-sided and like, well, this needs to be here for us and this needs to be here for you. It was like, no, let's figure out how we can lean and make it make sense.
How early was Jay involved in the conversation?
After the deal was done.
Yeah, after it was done. But what's crazy? After we linked, he was involved the whole time,
Yeah.
But it's funny because all throughout the process, I told Cruz, I'm like, we can't do this deal unless I holler at Jay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it until I holler at Hov.
You gotta be able to talk to the CEO.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we started going through, we had a meeting up there, and Emery walks in, one of Hov's best friends. And he just gave us like, after my whole ordeal with Rock Nation, like my that interview piece and telling, hey, this deal was bad, this, I thought they had a disdain for me,
Sure.
Because it's like all that comes out, you're going to feel away. And the love that they greeted me with, and they corrected all of that. I was like, that's not how we feel. And that's not a reflection of what we do. That's not, we believe in what you do. This means something to us. And talking to Emery and everything, I started laughing because I told the team, I was like, what's crazy? We wouldn't even be this far if Jay didn't have nothing to do with it or want me here.
Right.
And then when we met,
100%.
And he was like, man, I've been watching you for years. And even we talked about the birthday, he was like, man, I'm trying to give a nigga a deal. But it was like he's been involved the entire time.
Yeah. He tapped in for sure. Yeah. And then also someone like Hov is like, how can he not be respectful to the language of you saying, I have to be able to communicate what these deals are about because that's part of my brand. He's been giving us the game in his albums for 12 albums. He shows us the structure of the deals in all of his music. I learned the music business through listening to his music. I learned how to hustle everything under the sun except a couple of things, like through his music, right? So, I'm sure that it was great conversation and still going to continue to be a great conversation.
All right, but we're going to take a little break. Because if you're listening and thinking, fuck, I could really use some guidance right now, and you're serious about building your career in the music industry, I'm now offering private strategy sessions. These are fully personalized, just you and me tackling whatever you need in your career. With over 16 years of experience working with artists, managers, and brands, I can help you map out your next moves. Now, whether that's structuring your team, scaling your brand, navigating the industry, even figuring out what steps to take, whether to go to a distributor or to a record label and figuring out what are the best deal points. I can help you with your career with where you're at. You can now book a one-on-one with me through my Calendly, and you can find the link in the description. Now let's get back to the pod.
So, is there something deeper to it when you do a deal with someone like Rock Nation?
I believe so. Because like I said, this is a passing of the reins. When you have somebody like Hove who had to go against the system, building his own DSPs, building his own things to compete, building his own touring infrastructure, building his own brand business, building his own sports agency in a world where they're completely okay with you signing and dealing with them, but they hate when you build your own thing. That's when it's like targeted attacks and war. Mm-hmm. When someone like that takes all this information they gathered and say, here Kanye, here Rihanna, here Cole, here La Russell. I want to make sure that you can get the information and the resource to go to radio and not have to go through them to do it. I want to make sure you can get on TV and not have to go through them to do it. That's so much deeper than just a deal with Republic. You know, it's not the same thing. This is a black man who fought to get all of this information, knowledge, and resource to build this.
Absolutely.
It's nepotism. It's nepotism. And nepotism's okay when it's done on the other end, but when it's done on this end, it's so different.
Break that down some more.
Lucian can pass down a company to Elliot, and it's like, yeah, and he's deserving. It's not because it's his son, like he built something special and he's deserving. But when Hove builds it up and does it to a La Russell, it's a whole different conversation. Now we sell outs, now we this and that. But it's like, you would want your father or grandfather who went through the path and had to go through the revolution and have to take all the lashings to build what they built to give that information down. Because 20 years from now, we're going to be in a situation where we're like, well, nobody shared, nobody said nothing, nobody gave it.
Right.
But when they give you the handbook, you got so much negative to say about it. If the biggest indie artists right now and the biggest indie artists that existed meet and he say, here's everything you need to make sure you become even larger, that is celebratory. That's something that's like, thank God. Thank God. Man, y'all wanted me to go sign with them people who wasn't going to give me none of the information, just throw me through the system.
Right.
Man, stop playing.
And it's like nobody cares when artists come out under Republic, under Universal, like when they...
New Game Plus has no business making Grace's dish towel smell this good. Especially after that. Our greatest scent ever. New Game Plus with Oxy.
That little thingy booked a villa. This little thingy booked a hotel.
Might be time to rethink my car insurance.
Yeah, tell me something I don't know.
You can get AAA car insurance, and you can customize your policy for you and your new drivers. It's actually a lot harder to drive than you'd think. AAA car insurance. Expect something more.
What makes Marco's specialty pizzas so special? They're specially crafted with premium toppings. From garlic parmesan white sauce to 4 high-quality meats to one loaded with everything. To this and this, oh, and this. Phew, got them all. Upgrade your next pizza night with $3 off all Marco's specialty pizzas.
Your biggest fear came true. Your beloved pet is suddenly missing.
Our label signed artists on that end, nobody cares. When they break and they're a large global artist, nobody has anything to say about it. But when a La Russell joins with a Rock Nation, it's like he's a sellout. It's like, bro, you can't win for nothing.
Well, I think sometimes the public will say if an artist gets really hot. I always think it's like a badge of honor when you get called an industry plant.
Yeah, I mean,
like, when you're doing it good. Yeah, champagne, like, yo, we're on.
Right.
Yeah, right. Because it's like a crazy kind of conversation we even have. It's like the artist and their team whether you're signed to a label or not,
Right.
they have to put in the work. It's not like there is no button. There are different ways to market, promote, add, short capital, right? But at the end of the day, you still got to do the work, and people still got to like you and the music. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think with y'all specifically, the conversation is more about the ideology of what an independent artist is, not what independent artist is, right? So I think it gets silly when you start thinking of the ideology of it, because most people will assume it's 100% like T being here. Why she here? This is all the Russell. This is like it's 100% me doing this thing, and if it's not just me, then okay, I can have people around, but it's more so based on this idea of I can freely do as I please, and that's kind of the ideology I think behind it. But like the truth is, it's more about, in my opinion, and I love to ask y'all, is like, do you control the situation?
Yeah,
right.
I think independent means you're not dependent on anything outside of yourself to have a sustainable business and journey. Like if Rock Nation left tomorrow, La Russell would still be La Russell, still be monumental things and having crazy impact.
Right.
Together, we can do larger things. But no matter what, everything would still be here and remaining intact. 100%. There's some artists where if that label leaves, we've seen it, it's like, no, everything's gone. Like you have to rebuild from zero. I'm not at zero. And it's like that. It's just, I think that's fully what it is. It's like your control of what's existing and happening. Are you able to do this yourself? Yes or no? If you're not, and you have to stand on someone else's shoulders to stand where you stand, then that's not independent, because it's like you need all of these resources to make happen what you're trying to make happen. But we've literally shown and proved it. I own all of my music. My team has royalties and shares in what I do because it's mine. I could do that.
Yeah. Well, even further to that point, right? It's just like in the partnership, do you own the asset?
Right.
Do you control decision making?
Exactly. Exactly.
We were just laughing about that earlier.
Did you choose your partners?
Exactly.
I was just telling them, like, bro, Rock Nation doesn't do anything unless we approve it. And I'm like, it's a beautiful thing. And then some days I'm like, bro, just go. Like, yes, it's okay. But they literally don't do anything unless we give a green light. It could be the simplest thing of like,
it could be an asset.
That's a great product manager though.
Right. Yeah, and that's what you need. And that's what independence is. It's like, no, I'm completely in control of what the public gets from me.
Yeah.
Completely. There's nothing that goes out that Lorenzo didn't say like, oh yeah, that's representative of me 100%.
I think it should be understood on the whys, but like one thing that's never talked about is the how. Mm-hmm. How do you work with a partner like Rock Nation? Mm-hmm. So tell me, who's responsible for what in this relationship here?
In terms of
like what does Rock Nation handle versus you guys handle internally?
I mean, we still handle everything for Lorenzo on a day-to-day. We still handle all of his merch, his touring, his music releases, everything.
They handle partners.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, we want to. But even that, it's like, we want to connect you with Spotify. Can we connect y'all on this? Then we're there. Yeah. We want to connect you with Apple. Hey, can you go meet with Billboard? So they're handling all of the globalization of La Russell, making sure the world know who this is and what this story is, and putting us in the room to go speak for ourselves and be represented.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the product manager at Rock?
Cruz, that does he's our A&R, handles all of our stuff. Yeah.
So he's talking to y'all, and internally they're mobilizing.
We talk to the entire team. Cam,
So who are some of the
Cam and Roderick are probably like those. Cam, Roderick, and Jordan.
Yeah.
What do they handle?
Jordan.
Cam does digital.
Yep.
Jordan does DSP relationships and stuff like that, and Roderick is the main product manager that's overseeing the album, and then Cruz is our end artist.
So Roderick is making sure all the different departments at Rock Nation are getting delivered. Yeah, are talking. That's an important role.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like one of the most important roles. And it's funny that you mentioned that. It's just like, you know when you got a good product manager? When they're annoying.
Yep.
Shout out to Billy Zaro, by the way, my favorite product manager I ever worked with. He was at Island before and then went to Arista. But man,
that's what it takes.
He would hit him with a crazy checklist, and he would call you, text you, be like, "Hey, please, just following up, just flagging this hasn't been responded."
Man, we've had situations where we'll be in a partnership with somebody and we don't talk for months,
Yeah.
And then it's like now, bro, every day we have a message. And if we're not doing a call, we got at least a message every day for something, them making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing to earn our trust in our business. Like, we got 6 months. They don't even you don't even see artists with deals for 6 months. It's like they got 6 months to make me decide, hey, is this something we want to continue or not? And same vice versa. They don't do them kind of deals.
Yeah, I know. Is there an option at the end?
Yeah. Yep.
An option or mutual?
In our
you have the
option.
Yep. Mutual option.
Yep.
That's rare too.
Right.
It's usually label option versus. Well, I think now nowadays they more or less.
Yeah, they've been leaning towards mutual now.
Yeah. They have. Okay, so then this is like a very much test and prove kind of ground to see if this is.
Man, they've been showing up,
and they've been proven.
They've been showing up.
Yeah.
From the jump though, like the second that the ink hit the paper, the virtual
before.
Oh god. Yeah, they shown out.
What does success look like for you at the end of 6 months in this partnership with Rock Nation?
I would like to see multiple songs on radio.
Okay.
I mean, the deliverables for certain. I think that if the deliverables get hit, this was a successful deal. So if we're on late night, I think we also had like a streaming growth of like hitting sustaining. I think it was 1 million, or something like streaming, being able to sustain it with no no playlists.
1 million what?
1 million monthly listeners.
I think we might have set it to like a 5x multiplier.
5x, yeah. But without it being playlist driven, because that'll make it seem like you have all these, but then it comes back down and it's like, no, this needs to be able to maintain. And then we said radio, late night, and then major publication, which is already like they've done well on that. But if we hit those and Lorenzo's still happy with the partners and with the relationship that we have, this was a successful deal.
Let's talk about then, just zoom it out a little bit then, for somebody who is entertaining getting into a label deal or already in a label deal with a partner, right? What should a artist and manager be looking for when they're in that partnership with a label?
That's tough. Because it really depends on who you are and where you are in your journey. Like for this one, like we said, we went into it with deliverables because usually artists only have deliverables, but we were like, nah, y'all need to meet these metrics for it to make sense. But I think first, most importantly, you got to deal with who you do to deal with.
Yes.
The people in the building and the people you speak to, and not just your direct, but every department should have a certain energy and feeling about you. Presence in the room.
Yeah.
Like that was a big thing for us there. Like we talk to everybody. Take me down to the other floor. Let me meet the admin. Take me back to this one. I'm not just talking to the person working out. I want to see everybody just to make sure, hey, we good.
And it was beyond just friendly. Like, I think that's important. You go in, everybody's smiling, everybody's nice when you're trying to move somebody. Like, it wasn't just friendly. It's excitement about the artist and knowledge.
Yes.
Like, we didn't walk into a room and they were like, oh, well, what's your name? Everybody knew who was there, what he had done. Like, you have to have that about a partner, or else it's like.
Yeah, my experience from that was when we were going through a bidding war, when I said we, I said when I used to represent Jesse and it was Byron and myself co-managing Jesse, we were doing all the label stuff, and you go into a label in New York, and
Wine and dine.
elevator would open up, Jesse's faces.
Right.
Wine and dine.
Oh shit! Oh, okay, cool.
They like her.
They like her. I know. And so we get in there and do the meetings. But two things happened. One that I remember distinctly is when we sat down with David Massey over at Island Records and Ziggy. Massey was running the company at Island at the time, and man, he was so dialed in. It was like every song he heard on the EP before it came out, he knew why that song was and was able to communicate it to Jesse and myself and Byron. It was like he had it completely, he knew her as invested. Oh, he was just so dialed into Jesse. And he's really like a artist's kind of artist. And then following from there, that was cool, but we need to see more. We like, okay, let's pick up the phone and see if they'll introduce us to your different departments. And then it was like 2.5, 3 hours just sitting in their main foyer. Digital will come in, radio will come in, and it was like giving you like the whole spiel on how this business works and like how we can help you maneuver and figure this all out. So yeah, that's
man, and everybody don't do that.
Yeah.
No. Everybody don't walk you around the house and say, okay, this is this team or what they do, and this is this team. Sometimes, man, everybody don't do that. And that's a necessary thing too for artists going into these buildings. Like, think about how people treat you when they walk you in their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think also before you do a deal, being knowledgeable about what those departments are supposed to do before you get there, because they'll say a bunch of gibberish and a bunch of random words together because they know you don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then you're like, wow, yeah, they're so knowledgeable, they're doing great. And it's like, bro, he didn't say nothing. He didn't say anything at all. And if you get them talking and you ask the right questions and you realize they don't know how to answer what you have a question about, like, okay, this might not be the best team for me. Or if they have an answer that's like, dang, I never thought of it that way. This is great.
And she even proposed when we was there, like they put together a whole deck for us because she's like, how are y'all gonna push him?
Mm-hmm.
What is y'all plan? Yeah. Like what does this look like? Like, oh, this is cool, but what are y'all going to do exactly to get him from here to here?
Yeah.
And they laid all of that out.
That's important.
Yes.
Yeah,
vital.
You can tell me everything, but it's a whole other thing when you give me that document and then you show me strategically what you are trying to do. Because now I can look at this and I can also say like, okay, one, you care. But two, you know what? We align with this strategy because we understand this. But you know what? This doesn't really make sense for us. And we can tweak that, but it's not a big deal. But at least I can go by. Here's my blueprint.
A lot of the time they say what they're going to do, but they don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sounds great, but what exactly, that's what I kept saying. What exactly are you going to do step by step? How are you going to make that happen? Yeah, that was really like what sold me too, was seeing it all laid out in a way that's like, oh, I can follow this plan and see how it's going to lead us from A to B. This makes sense.
Yeah. When you were talking about digital as an example, right? So the digital team, because digital's on Smash.
Yeah.
Crushing it, always. What are some of the things that their team introduced that you were like, oh, no, it's not about it this way? Because now you're different. You're dealing with, you want to have alignment in philosophy, but they're going to have different tactics for certain things, right? And I'm curious what are some of the things they introduced to you and vice versa you introduced to them?
For me, it wasn't really an introduction of things. My biggest thing going everywhere was like, I have digital on lock. Are you able to jump in and amplify what happens organically? And that was my big thing for them. Like they sent us plans for like clip-in, influencer marketing, seeing these things. And I was able to say, no, don't do it on that because I don't want that. I want this to be organic. That doesn't feel organic. You could try that, but I don't like those results. I'm going to do this. If this goes, I need you to go boost this on the back end, run dark ads, do things like that. So it wasn't and introduction of new things for me. It was really like, how malleable are y'all going to be on being able to amplify the moments that I'm already producing?
And because he's so knowledgeable on the digital end, it's like having a partner that is okay with him saying, this is how I want it to run. And like you can pitch something about like, oh, well, this is how we previously done it. But if I don't believe that that's the best way to do it, can you just support how I want to get it done?
Yeah.
And that's like, especially when that's what you know the most about.
And they've been cool with that. Yeah. So let's talk about some of these things, because obviously not everybody knows some of the terms that you're talking about, right? So clipping. I love to get to because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the independent artists and the independent and the managers understand what they're getting into, right? This is the value that we're providing. Let's talk about clipping. What is clipping?
Clipping is mass distribution of your content. I think that's the best way to put it. It's putting your merch in every clothing store. So there's clipping and there's seeding. Seeding is putting your merch in Zoomies all over the world. Clipping is putting your merch in the gas station, in the corner store, in everywhere. Not just Zoomies and Nike, but everywhere. So there's two variations. Seeding is a high level where it's like you're trying to get the academics and the say cheeses and the shade rooms and all of that. And then there's clipping where it's like, no, we want to feed this everywhere by as many creators as possible.
Yeah. So to get to it from like a specific on it, it's like your digital clipping strategy could be anything. So it could be you go to a company. Who do you use? Is it
ClipTech?
You use ClipTech.
Yeah.
Okay. And for seeding, do you go to each individual?
No, I have a seed rep.
Okay.
I have a person that two actually. I've had Ayal, and then I've used Kyrie as well. So I have seed reps that I use. Some pages I still go direct, but I usually go through a seed rep to kind of go all the different places.
Got you. And what are some of those places that you'll do some seeding?
Rap Marathon, Bars, How Songs Were Made, Say Cheese, Academics, all the Bars, Spiritual Word. All the mains that you see, that you see content on, yeah, everywhere like here,
yeah. Okay, and so on the clipping side of things, how do you see it? It's two questions actually: the best type of clipping and the clipping to avoid.
Man, clipping to avoid is pages that when you go look at following to engagement ratios, it's like non-existent. It's like people aren't really here. But there's two forms, right? Because there's clipping to where you'll hit a bunch of pages that don't have no traction, but algorithmically it just puts it into the atmosphere. But I think it really depends on what kind of artist you are. Like, you want to avoid negative clipping, but some people thrive and benefit from that, So like that, you can't even avoid it. But I think great clipping is a clipping campaign that shows up in your world. When I spoke to my clipping team, it's like, I want to hit the places that I see music on frequently. Like where I find new music, I want to see my music existing there. I don't want to, if it's on pages that never even get to me, I don't know if it's truly working. Even though I have a dashboard, it's like, yeah, there's 2,000 clips. It's like, I don't see that shit nowhere. So it feels unreal. Right. But when it starts showing up in my algorithm in pages where I usually find music, it's like, oh, you're working it. You're in a good place. These are good prominent pages that actually exist that you see in your own feed,
Yeah. And so who's a clipper as an example? What is a clipper?
Discover Braun Series 9 Pro Plus. You take one stroke, Braun takes 5.
Using a spreadsheet to calculate your music rights, contracts, and royalties is outdated. Gain competitive advantage with Ingenta, a web-based royalty management platform. Automate royalty calculation and processing for every stream, download, unit sale, and broadcast. You can use any common payment system to pay out royalties accurately, and you can also securely draft new contracts within the platform and obtain legally binding signatures via DocuSign. Connect with Ingenta to learn more.